I'm Betty Miner, and I'm caring for my husband who has progressive MS. And he's in a wheelchair. It is such an incredible journey of being a caregiver. I think in the beginning, for me, because this was a disease that had many transitions, I related a lot to what it was like to be a full-time mother. When you've got young children, you obviously have to kind of pay attention 24/7. You don't want to burn out. It's been difficult. I'm tired. For a long time, I was focused on being so angry at this disease because what it was doing to the person that was my partner, was a person that I loved, just changing our whole family dynamic.
Well, when that illness or disability happens in an acute situation and then it becomes chronic or progressive, you're suddenly having to readjust to a new normal in life. And if it's progressive, you're adjusting to a new normal again and again and again. The dynamics that occur in that changing relationship, you're constantly reshuffling to learn a new relationship. It's challenging enough to be a good partner in a relationship, period, regardless of the role that you serve with that person. Like, relationships are not easy. So then if you're constantly dealing with change in that relationship, it's just another layer of challenge on top of the health or medical needs that that person is also dealing with.
My name's Brandy. I work with Parkinson Association of Alberta. We work with people living with and affected by Parkinson's disease and related disorders. The thing I think that makes chronic illness or a chronic disability different than what some might call your day-to-day caregiver challenges is that it doesn't get better. How do you find the balance between independence and helping your loved one out? There is a generation of seniors who are raised a certain way, especially women. Oftentimes, society expects people in those types of situations to just automatically know what they're supposed to do. And the reality of it is, nobody knows what they are supposed to do in that situation.
I think it is very common. And especially as women, we want to be, super women, and we want to take it all on. There's all these other things that you have to make a priority. And then you're trying to push yourself up to be that priority too.
It's challenging for caregivers to balance the need to help and support their loved one and do it in a way that's protecting dignity and protecting the autonomy of that person. Sometimes when you are caregiving for someone with an illness or disability, it's not always progressive, and there is healing. Sometimes it's easier to just keep doing things in support of your loved one because it's easier for you to do it than to ask them to do it or to give them room to do it, to step back and give them room to do it.
So how do you maintain boundaries? How do you make sure you're doing the best, not only for your loved one, but for yourself? And a lot of that can come from conversations before any of it becomes a problem. Have those conversations about driving and where you're going to live and what is safe. What does safe mean to the person with the chronic illness? What does safe mean to the loved one? And how do you mesh those worlds so that the unique challenges that are likely going to occur already have a framework for some solutions or for some possibilities?
Well, I think supporting my husband's independence, it comes down to, for me, really what our whole relationship is based on, which is love and respect. So you have to have a great deal of patience. You have to allow them to figure some of these things out for themselves, because it is hard. I mean, they're trying to maneuver and manipulate and figure out where they're at. And sometimes they kind of lose sight of how it's affecting their partner too. being able to let go of some of the things that happen that, are hurtful or awkward, or, there's just no point in hanging on to it all. It's too much.
So supporting a loved one over the course of a journey that can be really long sometimes when you have a chronic illness or a progressive condition is two things: managing expectations and perspective. Oftentimes we want things to be the way they used to be. I don't think sometimes people give themselves the grace to have a moment to grieve that. Oftentimes with a chronic illness, there is no solution other than the new normal. To skip over that step of grieving the life you thought you were going to have, it doesn't mean life is over. It means life has changed. When we talk about managing expectations as the care partner, it's a fine line between balancing safety and the independence of your loved one. The trick is not to dwell on the inevitable loss, but rather, what do we need right now to live in the moment and to help prepare for that in the future? So instead, have a conversation. Conversations are what relationships are built off of.
How do we help caregivers find that balance? By talking about it, by sharing examples. It's important for them to hear from other caregivers who are also dealing with that same challenge.
We can discuss what we're going through. We have an amazing coach that listens and helps and supports and offers suggestions. I was so happy to have found this because I really was with people that had the same kind of struggle as I did. The nice thing about that kind of a situation, it's just a conversation. I can talk about anything and everything, and I found it a really good way to release a lot of that, penned up emotion, that especially the negative. And I really think that resource is it's invaluable for every caregiver.
Programs like that, it's sort of like group think and group education. The support staff that we have working with caregivers are caregivers or have been caregivers. And I do think that makes a difference because, things are never textbook along the caregiver journey. Because again, it's the experience, the lived experience that is the best teacher of knowing when to step in and step back. There's no cookie cutter formula to what the right answer is or how to approach challenges. You learn from others' experiences and the wisdom that they have to share, and that then becomes your knowledge to action.